Hello everyone. My talk is about vitamin D, how low the vitamin D levels in Japanese ladies, and how it affects their allergic symptoms. Thank you. No conflicts of interest. Has anyone been to Japan or other Asian countries? Oh, yes. You might have noticed that many ladies avoid UV exposure mainly because of cosmetic reasons. In Japan, it is well known that UV ray exposure raises the risk of skin cancer. So they have reasonable excuse for their actions. While the importance of vitamin D level, vitamin D production by UV ray is not well known in Japan. And this is true for tennis players. You can often see these colorful bank robberies in Japanese summer. Now I'll start with the study background. The prevalence of asthmatic children are increasing for these 30 years in Japan. Air pollution is usually considered as the cause of asthma, but the air in Japan became cleaner and cleaner in these 30 years. So this will not be the cause of the current asthma increase in Japan. On the other hand, the frequency of Asian dust has increased over 30 years. Asian dust refers to the soil yes, the soil blown into the air from dry regions of the Asian continent. The prevailing western winds carry the dust and brings it sometimes to Japan or other Asian countries. We previously showed that these Asian dust arrivals increase the risk of allergic symptoms in Japanese pregnant women. You can see that the risk of allergic symptoms rises as the dust level rises, all for nose, eyes, and lung. However, not all those exposed to Asian dust developed allergic symptoms, suggesting a partial role of the host too. So we hypothesized that these susceptible individuals with some intrinsic factors have increased in recent years. There are many changes in our lifestyles over 30 years. The most famous hypothesis is hygiene hypothesis. Others include the stress, reduction of exercise, sleeping time, and reduction of sun exposure. Nowadays, people spend 90% of time at indoors, and young ladies should be at higher risk of vitamin D deficiency in Japan. In animal studies, vitamin D has been reported to affect both innate and acquired immunity, with immune cells such as dendritic cells having the vitamin D receptors. And in fact, a US study showed that the frequencies of EpiPen prescriptions were higher in northern states than in southern states, and in winter than in summer. So we hypothesized that vitamin D deficiency might play a role for allergic symptom development observed in Japan. So we used our previous data of Japanese pregnant women that examined allergic symptom development on nose, eyes, and lungs, dividing the subjects by their vitamin D levels in their serum. In summary, our objective was to examine if vitamin D deficiency is associated with the development of allergic symptoms in Japanese pregnant women using the database of our previous study at Asian dust exposure. The previous study was an observational study in 3 prefectures in Japan, spanning over 4 dust seasons from 2011 to 2013. As for the subjects, we focused on only pregnant women for 2 reasons. The first, pregnant women are less likely to take medications, so their allergic symptoms are less likely to be affected by their medications. And second, we in the future want to clarify the effects on their children. As for the outcome measurement, we acquired subjects' daily allergic symptom scores. This is a questionnaire, and it asks the subject to score her allergic symptoms on the day for eyes, nose, and lungs. We a priori defined any allergic symptom as at least one of these were above 0. This questionnaire was sent out to subjects' mobile phones on some randomly selected days during the study period, and they were responded within a day in 73%. We also kept their blood samples, typically taken 3 times during pregnancy. We then extracted the blood samples that had symptom answers within 3 months after sampling and measured their vitamin D levels. Now the result. This figure shows the serum vitamin D level in relation to the month. It showed a clear seasonal change, and as much as 70% of samples were under deficiency level. We then compared the allergic symptom development between those with sufficient level of vitamin D and those with deficient level. This is a result. Vitamin D deficiency statistically significantly elevated the risk for allergic symptom development. This is a result of GEE logistic regression model adjusted by age, BMI, and etc. Shown here. And you can see the odds ratio for symptom development decreased as the vitamin D level increased. So the dose dependency was also confirmed. And we will see the reactions to Asian dust events between these people. The y-axis here shows the odds ratio for any allergic symptom development compared with the vitamin D sufficient people on non-Asian dust days. In vitamin D deficient cases, here, a statistically significant risk elevation for allergic symptoms was observed during Asian dust events, while the risk elevation was not clear on those with vitamin D sufficient level. And the significance of the slope, that is the interaction term of the regression model, showed statistical significance. Similar phenomenon was observed at pollen dispersal. So the vitamin D levels modified the allergic symptom risk during the dust events and pollen dispersal. In summary, 71% of pregnant women show vitamin D deficiency in Japan. It was very severe. And vitamin D deficiency was associated with increased risk of allergic symptoms in Japanese pregnant women. And vitamin D level modified the allergic symptom risk during Asian dust events and pollen dispersal. Thank you. These are our collaborators.
Okay, thank you. Do we have the questions? If you have the results like this, do you have any kind of recommendations according to your research to solve this problem?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I think it's very important to tell the people to get UV exposure at reasonable level, not too much, but not too least. And at least because they do not have sufficient level. 71% was under the deficiency line. It is very important for bone health. And as for the allergic symptom, this is the first study that clearly showed that the allergic symptom risk is increased depending on the vitamin D level. So I think we really need to study further in, for example, non-pregnant people and in children, and confirm if it is reproduced. The result will be if the result reproduced, and then if it is confirmed, we should tell people that our allergic symptom might be reduced by properly being exposed by UV exposure. But I think we need some more years to do that.
Okay. Thank you very much for the presentations. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
Good luck in the court.
Thank you.